1. Embrace your authentic independence. There's something incredibly powerful about a person who stands strong without needing validation from others. Authentic independence isn't about isolating yourself or pretending you don't need anyone, it's about knowing your worth, living by your values, and feeling whole from within. When you walk through life grounded in who you are, without constantly seeking approval or comparison, you develop a quiet confidence that naturally draws people in. This type of independence doesn't shout, it speaks through your presence. It shows in the way you carry yourself, how calmly you respond to challenges, and how clearly you follow your own path. In a world where so many chase trends, likes, and external praise, being centered and self-directed is rare, and deeply attractive. People are instinctively drawn to those who don't need to be the loudest voice in the room, because it signals strength, clarity, and self-respect. But authentic independence takes practice. It means trusting yourself even when others doubt you. It means enjoying solitude, not as a way to escape, but as a space where you reconnect with your values and inner peace. You become someone who chooses relationships from a place of strength, not need. Your confidence doesn't rely on applause, it's built from consistent alignment with your true self. To cultivate this, take time to reflect. Are you living based on what matters most to you, or are you caught in the expectations of others? Start making choices that honor your own direction. Spend quiet time alone, walks, journaling, or moments of stillness, to remind yourself of who you are. When you embrace authentic independence, you don't have to try to be attractive. People will notice your calm energy, your inner clarity, and your steady presence. You won't need to prove yourself, your life will speak for you. And that's the kind of silent power that leaves a lasting impression. 2. Master the art of silent elegance. You don't need to be loud to stand out. In fact, the most unforgettable people are often the quietest in the room. Silent elegance is the ability to move through the world with calm, confidence, and presence, without ever needing to raise your voice. It's about the energy you carry, the way you compose yourself, and the respect you show others through your actions rather than your words. True elegance starts with body language. You don't have to strut or demand attention. A relaxed, upright posture, steady eye contact, and controlled movements speak volumes. When you're grounded and intentional, people notice. You become someone others look to, not because you're the loudest, but because you're the calmest. This kind of presence also shows up in how you treat people. Saying, please, and thank you. Listening without interrupting, and treating everyone, from a stranger to your closest friend, with respect sends a powerful message. It tells the world, I value myself, and I value you. That kind of behavior is rare, and it makes a lasting impression. Silent elegance isn't about being perfect. It's about being poised. It's not about wearing expensive clothes, but about showing up in a way that feels deliberate and authentic. It's knowing that how you show up matters, not for the sake of appearances, but as a reflection of your inner character. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius believed that true strength lies in calm. When you respond rather than react, when you carry yourself with grace under pressure, you create a powerful sense of trust and authority. You don't need to explain yourself, your presence does it for you. Start small, slow down, breathe deeper, speak with purpose. Observe how you enter a room or how you hold space in a conversation. Silent elegance is not about trying harder, it's about being more mindful. And over time, people won't just notice you, they'll remember you. 3. The subtle scent of sophistication. Sometimes, it's the smallest details that leave the deepest impression, and scent is one of them. You may not always notice it consciously, but a subtle, refined scent can instantly elevate how people experience your presence. It's not about being flashy or overwhelming, it's about leaving a quiet, lasting mark that speaks of care, self-respect, and quiet confidence. Sophistication through scent is less about luxury and more about intention. It says, without words, I take care of myself. I value the details. Whether it's a light, clean fragrance or simply the freshness that comes from good hygiene, the effect is powerful. People remember how you made them feel. And scent is deeply tied to memory. A faint, pleasant aroma can remind someone of calm, warmth, and trust, long after you've walked away. But it's not just about choosing a cologne or perfume. True sophistication includes how you present yourself in total. Are you well-groomed? Do you take pride in the small rituals of self-care, clean clothes, neat hair, fresh breath? These quiet details show a deeper self-awareness and a sense of personal discipline. They reflect how much you value yourself, which in turn invites others to do the same. Stoic thinkers like Seneca emphasize that outer simplicity should reflect inner clarity. He once wrote, "Let your outward appearance be simple and dignified, reflecting the serenity of your mind." That's exactly what subtle scent and grooming can achieve, not attention-grabbing flash, but quiet refinement that mirrors your inner peace. To develop this habit, be mindful of your daily routine. Find a scent that aligns with your personality, something gentle, not overpowering. Keep your grooming clean and consistent. Focus on the parts most people overlook. Because it's in those quiet details that true elegance lives. You don't need to shout to be remembered. The scent of sophistication lingers, calm, composed, and quietly magnetic. It's one of the most effortless, yet powerful ways to stand out in a noisy world. 4. Being fully present. In a world filled with distractions, being fully present is a rare and powerful habit. Most people are half listening, half scrolling, half somewhere else. That's why someone who gives their full attention, calm, focused, and engaged, stands out in the most memorable way. Presence isn't loud or showy, but its impact is undeniable. When you're fully present, you make others feel like they matter. You listen not to reply, but to truly understand. You're not checking your phone, thinking about what to say next, or mentally multitasking. You're here. In the moment. And that quiet attentiveness creates a connection deeper than any impressive speech could offer. Presence also reflects emotional maturity. It means you're not lost in regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. You're grounded in the now, which gives off a sense of peace and confidence. People feel safe around that kind of energy, drawn in, not by noise, but by stillness. The Stoics, too, taught this principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." They believed that real power comes from being centered in the current moment, not getting caught in what was or what might be. Presence allows you to meet life as it is, without overreaction or escape. To build this habit, practice being mindful in everyday situations. When you're in a conversation, put your phone away. Make eye contact. Nod. Pause before responding. Even small signs of attentiveness show that you respect the person in front of you. And people don't forget how that makes them feel. Start noticing your own habits, too. Are you fully present when you eat, walk, or work, or are you constantly chasing the next thing? Bring your attention back to where you are, right now. It's a practice, not a performance. In a noisy world, presence is magnetic. It makes you quietly unforgettable, not because you demand attention, but because you give yours so generously. And that simple, silent act changes everything. 5. A touch of mystery. In today's world of constant sharing, there's something deeply attractive about someone who doesn't reveal everything. A touch of mystery isn't about being secretive or distant, it's about knowing that you don't have to explain yourself to be understood, or overshare to be seen. It's the quiet confidence that comes from being comfortable with what others don't know about you. People are naturally drawn to mystery. When you hold something back, when you let others discover you slowly, you create intrigue. You invite curiosity without demanding attention. There's power in letting your actions speak for themselves. And letting people wonder what else lies beneath the surface. Mystery isn't about playing games or hiding who you are. It's about being intentional. You don't need to tell everyone your entire life story. Instead, you share what matters, when it matters, with people who've earned that trust. And that restraint? That quiet control? It says more about your self-respect than any speech ever could. The Stoics believed in this kind of measured communication. Epictetus said, "Be silent, or let your words be worth more than silence." When you learn to value silence, to understand the strength in not saying everything, you start to radiate a deeper presence. One that commands interest without seeking it. To cultivate mystery. Reflect on how much you share and why. Are you speaking to connect, or to fill silence out of discomfort? Let some things remain unsaid. Let your choices, values, and energy do the talking. People respect those who carry themselves with depth, because they can feel that there's more to discover. Live a layered life. Have passions, values, and experiences that aren't always on display. Let people earn the right to see the deeper sides of you. That doesn't make you distant, it makes you authentic. And the truth is, we're often most attractive not when we tell people everything, but when we leave space for them to wonder. In a world of noise, be the quiet mystery they can't stop thinking about. 6. Cultivate cultural wisdom. There's something deeply magnetic about someone who carries quiet confidence and a broad understanding of the world. Cultural wisdom isn't about showing off how much you know, it's about being curious, respectful, and open-minded. It's the habit of listening before speaking, of learning before judging, and of seeing the world through more than just your own lens. When you meet someone who's traveled, read deeply, or taken time to understand different people and perspectives, you feel it. There's a calm intelligence in how they speak, and a humility in how they engage. They don't dominate conversations, they enrich them. They make others feel heard. Because they know how valuable it is to be understood. This kind of wisdom comes from an intentional life. It means reading books that challenge you. Asking questions that lead to deeper truths. And engaging with people whose lives are different from yours, not to debate, but to understand. You don't have to travel the world to do this. You just need to be willing to look beyond the surface and learn from everything around you. The Stoics believed in this kind of depth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look beneath the surface. Let not the visible be the whole." Cultural wisdom invites you to do just that, to see beyond appearances and engage with the soul of a conversation, a person, or a place. To develop this habit, start by staying curious. Ask yourself, am I approaching this moment to prove something, or to learn something? Be a student of life. When you speak, do it with care. When you listen, do it fully. People will notice. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because your presence brings insight and warmth without arrogance. In a world full of shallow opinions and loud voices, cultural wisdom is a quiet superpower. It makes you someone others want to be around, not because you demand the spotlight, but because you shine from within. 7. The heartbeat of compassion. In a fast-moving world where people often rush past one another, true compassion stands out like a quiet light in the dark. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need recognition. But when someone shows genuine kindness, without expecting anything in return, it leaves a powerful, lasting impression. Compassion isn't about grand gestures or dramatic moments. It lives in the little things, listening without interrupting, being patient when others fall short. Offering a kind word when it's needed most. These quiet acts signal something rare, a strength that comes not from control, but from care. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel seen and safe. When you approach others with empathy, you offer more than comfort, you offer connection. You become someone they can trust. Not because you fix their problems, but because your presence says, you matter. The Stoics deeply valued compassion, though many misunderstand their philosophy as cold or emotionless. In truth, figures like Marcus Aurelius emphasized kindness as a duty. He wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." Stoic compassion is calm, grounded. And without ego, it's not about rescuing people, it's about respecting them. To cultivate this habit, begin by listening, truly listening, not to respond, but to understand. Hold space for others without rushing to give advice or shift the focus back to yourself. Often, what people need most isn't answers, it's someone who simply cares enough to stay present. Compassion also means extending that same care to yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you treat yourself with patience and grace, you build the emotional reserves needed to do the same for others. Kindness that starts from within radiates outward, quietly strengthening every relationship around you. In the end, compassion isn't soft. It's resilient. It doesn't need to prove itself, because its power is felt, not forced. When you lead with empathy and carry that heartbeat of compassion, you become someone others are drawn to, not because you seek attention, but because you make them feel deeply understood. 8. Laughter and joy. There's something undeniably attractive about someone who carries lightness in their spirit, who knows how to laugh, even when life gets tough. Joy doesn't need to be loud or exaggerated. In fact, the most magnetic kind is subtle and sincere. It's the quiet glow of someone who finds reasons to smile, not because life is perfect, but because they've chosen to meet it with grace. Laughter creates connection. It lowers walls. It reminds us that no matter how serious the world becomes, there's always room for warmth and humanity. People naturally gravitate toward those who bring a sense of ease into a room. Not through forced jokes or attention-seeking, but through genuine lightheartedness, the kind that makes others feel like it's okay to just be themselves. The Stoics understood the importance of joy, even in the face of hardship. Epictetus taught that while we can't control external events, we can always choose our response. And choosing joy, even in small moments, is a form of quiet strength. It shows you're not ruled by circumstances, you're anchored within. To cultivate this habit, start with awareness. Notice what makes you smile, a warm memory, a funny observation, a simple pleasure, and don't rush past it. Let yourself feel it. Share that moment with others. It could be as small as a kind comment or a shared laugh during a conversation. These are the moments people remember. Not because they were dramatic, but because they were real. Laughter also invites humility. When you can laugh at yourself, it shows you're confident without being rigid. You're relatable, approachable. It tells the world you don't take yourself too seriously, and that in itself is deeply attractive. Surround yourself with joy. Spend time with people who lift you up. Create space in your day to reconnect with the things that make you feel alive. You'll find that joy isn't something you chase, it's something you bring. And when you do, others will naturally want to be around you, not because you're loud, but because your quiet happiness is contagious. 9. The art of self-care. There's a quiet power in someone who takes care of themselves, not for show, not out of vanity, but because they respect their mind, body, and inner peace. Self-care isn't about indulgence or expensive routines. It's about sending a silent but strong message. I value myself enough to take responsibility for my well-being. When someone consistently shows up for themselves, getting enough rest, eating well, exercising, managing stress, you can feel it. They move with calm energy. They speak with clarity. They aren't drained or reactive because they've learned to protect their energy, not just give it away. That kind of steadiness is rare, and deeply attractive. The Stoics believed in balance and self-discipline as keys to a meaningful life. Seneca once wrote, "A sound mind in a sound body." To them, caring for the self was a duty, not a luxury. It allowed them to face life's chaos with strength and stability. Today, the same is true, when you take care of your body and your emotions. You carry a presence that feels centered and trustworthy. Self-care also means setting boundaries. It means knowing when to say no, when to pause, and when to recharge. In a world that constantly demands your attention, choosing to care for yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. You can't support others if you're running on empty. To develop this habit, start small. Create simple rituals that bring you back to yourself. Go for a walk without your phone. Prepare a healthy meal. Take 5 minutes each morning to breathe and reset. These aren't grand gestures, but over time, they build a life that feels grounded and fulfilling. And when others see that you take care of yourself, they respond with quiet respect. Not because you asked for it, but because you've earned it through consistency and self-respect. You become someone others admire, not for what you say, but for how you live. Self-care doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. But it's visible in your presence, your choices, and your calm. And in that silence, it speaks volumes. 10. Emotional intelligence and social awareness. Some of the most quietly powerful people you'll ever meet aren't the loudest or most outspoken. They're the ones who truly understand others, who read the room, pick up on unspoken emotions, and respond with calm, thoughtful presence. This is emotional intelligence and social awareness. And it's one of the most underrated, yet deeply attractive, habits you can develop. Emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness. It means understanding your own emotions, knowing your triggers, and learning to respond rather than react. When you're able to stay grounded in tense moments, to pause, breathe, and choose your next move, you create an inner calm that others naturally respect. You become a source of steadiness in a chaotic world. Social awareness goes hand in hand. It's about paying attention to the people around you, noticing tone, body language, and the energy in a conversation. It means knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to offer insight and when to simply be present. The best communicators don't dominate conversations. They make others feel heard. The Stoics placed great value on this kind of composure. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Listening is a skill, and when practiced with intention, it builds connection, trust, and influence without ever raising your voice. To cultivate emotional intelligence, start by observing your own patterns. When do you tend to lose control? What helps you stay calm? Practice mindfulness, journaling, or even brief pauses during the day to reset your emotional balance. When interacting with others, slow down. Really listen. Ask questions from a place of curiosity, not control. People are drawn to those who make them feel understood. Not because of charm or performance, but because of sincerity. When you carry this kind of awareness, you don't have to seek attention, your presence earns respect all on its own. In a noisy, reactive world, emotional intelligence is quiet power. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply shows up, with grace, empathy, and strength, and others take notice. 11. Consistency and reliability. In a world full of unpredictability, few traits are more quietly powerful than consistency and reliability. You don't need to be flashy or constantly visible to earn respect, just show up, follow through, and do what you say you're going to do. Over time, that steady commitment builds something louder than any words ever could, trust. People remember those they can count on. Whether it's being there when it matters, keeping your promises, or simply sticking to your values, reliability creates a foundation that others can lean on. It shows maturity, discipline, and emotional strength, not because you talk about it, but because you live it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the essence of consistency. You don't need to broadcast your principles, just embody them, every day, through your actions. Over time, people will come to rely on your presence, your word, and your calm energy. Especially when things get hard. Being reliable doesn't mean being perfect. It means showing up, especially when it's inconvenient. It means being emotionally stable. Not reacting to every challenge with drama or impulse. Consistency is built in the small moments, keeping your morning routine, honoring your commitments. Being the same person in private as you are in public. To develop this habit, start with small, daily promises to yourself. Wake up when you say you will. Finish what you start. Stick to your principles even when no one's watching. The more you follow through, the more you build a sense of inner respect, and that self-respect quietly radiates outward. When people see that you're grounded and dependable, they'll naturally trust you. You don't have to convince anyone. Your consistency speaks for you. In a noisy world of quick exits and broken commitments, be the one who stays steady. Reliability doesn't demand attention, but it earns it. And that kind of quiet strength is what people remember long after the moment has passed.